Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my show. Welcome. Today we're going to get back on this Kubota BX23D. It's a 2006 model. This is not to be confused with the new Kubota BX23S, which I believe came out in 2020 or 2019, somewhere around in that. There's quite a few differences in them. This procedure is probably the same because I noticed the last time when I mowed my 4 acres that I was hearing louder noises coming out of this engine compartment that I'm used to, and it's well past the time to have the valves adjusted, so that's what we're going to do today. So stay tuned and let's adjust the valves on this D905 engine in the 2006 BX23D. Alright, we're going to begin by removing the bonnet. I call it a cowling, but the manual, Kubota calls it a bonnet. On this particular BX23, you do not have to remove the hood, and I don't think I'll have to. So now what I'm going to do is remove this grill guard, and it is, what I've done is held on. I'm going to use a 3/4 inch socket. Now I've reversed these nuts and bolts because they use an Allen wrench on the back side, and an Allen wrench, look here, this is my headlight cover, okay, might have been hearing that rattle too, but the Allen wrench is, we're on the front, so you'd have to use an Allen wrench to turn it. I think it's easier to just break it loose with the bolts in front and the Allens on the back. So that's what we're going to do. That thing weighs a couple pounds, so I'd secure it good. All right. They can generally stay in there. Next, there's 4 bolts that hold the bonnet on, and they are a 10 millimeter. All right. Now on this model, what you want to do is, twist the headlight bulbs, and you can pull the whole thing out like that. All right. Twist and pull it out, let it lay down. Kind of slope this down a little bit. I'm going to move you back so you can see better. Alright. We'll just slide right off. Get that washer out of the way. There you go. Flip him up, and we should be all right. Now what I've got to do is find the timing mark that they talked about. I'll take you over and I'll show you on the workshop manual what I'm looking at. All right, this is a video of the workshop manual. that I've got on PDF. I highly recommend, if you're going to do your own wrenching on these, that you get a workshop manual. Dealers sell them. I've seen them on eBay. Private owners sell them. But anyway, this is a procedure for adjusting the valves. It's in the engine section of the workshop manual. And here's a picture of if you're sitting, standing back and looking towards the front of the BX, you can see there's the flywheel, there's the engine mount, and there appears to be a metal timing tab, which they call number 2, which is the alignment mark right here, number 2, the alignment mark. So that's the alignment mark, and right here it says number 1 is the ITC timing mark on the flywheel, and it looks like that's what it says, and there's some other graduations. So what I'm going to do is find that, and then before I can spin the engine, I'm going to need, it says here, to remove the glow plugs. So my guess is that is to relieve the compression, because you know, on a diesel engine you got pretty high compression. All right, be right back. We're at the kind of the same angle of that picture in the manual, and we're looking towards the front on the left side, and that appears to be right there. I hit my light right here, appears to be the timing mark. So I'm going to remove the glow plugs so I can spin this, and what we want to do is find that timing mark on this flywheel and line it with that bracket right there. All right, here's the glow plug right there. That's the power lead. I've removed 2 of the nuts that holds the that bar that runs across. You can see the wire connecting right here that brings power to it, and you can see how it puts power to all 3 of them. All right, but you have 3 glow plugs. Now see if we can do this. All right, we got him off, and we got that bringing him up, and there's the glow plugs. Now I'm not real sure how they secure in there. I'm gonna have to study that real quick. Anyway, if you look here, you can see where it looks like I've bent this, and it was back here almost rubbing on the flywheel. So I'm going to remove this plate. I don't think you have to, but I'm going to, so I can straighten it up. So that's an additional step I'm going to do. Looks like it's held on with 4 number 14s. So we're going through all kinds of sizes here. I'm old school, so I'm not hip on my metrics. Well, there you go. Number 12. I'll just keep this here now. I mean, I'll keep it close. You can see I've bent him pretty good. I'll straighten him up. All right, got real easy access to the flywheel now, and it spins. Looking at it this way, it spins clockwise. So I'm thinking if I can put a socket on here, turn it clockwise, which would be tightening it, I should be able to spin it. I'm going to employ a special tool, a napkin. I'm going to put it down there in the number 1 cylinder's glow plug hole, and when I turn it and it's on coming up on its compression stroke, it should blow it up. All right. Now I'm turning it and I'm watching the napkin. I don't know if you can see it or not. Here, I'll position you so where you can. All right, it's sucking it in. There you go. I don't know if you caught it, but it started to come up. So that tells me we're on a compression stroke. And we'll come down here and see if we can see the timing marks. And get a light around here somewhere. Just no good place to put a light. All right. I'm gonna go backwards a little bit. All right, I was doing something wrong, and that's why I couldn't find these timing marks right here. All right, but here's the 1TC mark, and I'm gonna mark it with a white marker right there, just so it's easier to see. All right, so he's now with a white marker. You can't hardly see with the light on, but anyway, put my cap back on. Let me show you the mistake I was making. I was blowing out of this hole, wasn't I? Well, you know, in the Kubota BX, the engine is backwards. That's number 1 cylinder. So I was trying to, you know, I was bringing compression up on number 3, but the timing marks were nowhere near. So anyway, so remember that. Number 1 is right here, not to the rear. All right? So we've got the mark there. I'm gonna bring that mark down to here now. All right. All right. So I got the mark on there. Now I'm gonna bring it down to the where it's right lined up where the book shows where it should be. Right there. I don't know if you can see it, but the white line, which is can't get my finger right there, is right on that, right on top. All right. Now I'm gonna remove the valve cover. All right, we're going to remove these three bolts right there. I broke him loose with a ratchet so I can know how much power it would take. All right, I don't want to lose that. All right. And that one fell down, didn't it? Yep. All right, now we'll pull the lid off. Okay, I had to hit it a few times with this to break it loose, but just these 3 hold it. And there are 3 lock washers that could get in the way. I'm leaving this hose connected here because you'll see it come out with it. All right, it's just a long hose. And there we go. And you can see there's just an O-ring, goes all the way around. I don't see any sealer. Or there might be, okay. There we go. Now the number 1 being up on compression stroke, both should be somewhat loose. That's loose, and that's loose. All right. He's a little tighter, okay. All right, it doesn't look bad in there at all. All right, looks pretty good for the mileage. Oh, hours. All right, wipe them down a little bit. And now I'll bring you down for a close-up. Okay. All right, and that's what she looks like. You can see there's play there. All right, there's play here. Now I'm going to take you over to the manual, and there's only 2 revolutions that we have. There's only 2 times we got to turn the crank. One is to find the compression top dead center on number 1. And then when we spin it 360 degrees. This will end up being on probably the exhaust stroke, and this will be on the compression. And you can actually do the full cylinder plus 1 valve of each of the other 2. I'll explain it to you here on the manual. All right, so when you bring number 1 cylinder up to top dead center, you can adjust the intake and exhaust valve on number 1, the exhaust valve on number 2, and the intake valve on number 3. Then it says right here, turn the flywheel, 6.28 rad, which I'm glad to see they say 360 degrees, and align the ITC mark on the flywheel with the alignment again. All right, and then you can adjust the other cylinders. You would do the intake on number 3, the exhaust on number 3, the intake on number 2. I'm sorry, you do both. You just invert what you got. Anyway, there we go. Oh, right here. Okay. Better do some more reading, Dave. Okay. Yeah, there and there. So, well, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, I see. And let's see, it's given the values in inches and millimeters. My feeler gauges are in inches. So it looks like it's 571 thousandths to 728 thousandths, or to simplify it, 5 thousandths to 7 thousandths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set mine to 6, right smack dab in the middle. All right? So let's go do that. This is a 6 thousandths feeler gauge. All right. And I got that at 7. Now this is the intake valve, and that's the exhaust. If you ever have a question as which to which, just see where they line up. See the exhaust, here's the exhaust port here on to the manifold. Lines up exactly with that one, with this one, and with this one. So it's pretty easy to see if you follow with that. All right, so we're going to check our intake, and that's tight. The intake feels good. I don't see any need to adjust it. Now my exhaust is loose. Now oddly enough, the instructions say both valves are to be the same and to do it with the engine cold. So anyway, so we're going to loosen him up. Okay, and we're going to tighten him down a little bit. I like to tighten it while I'm moving it so I can. All right, that's too tight. Too tight. There, I can feel it moving a little bit there. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do, keep it like that. Cinch it, and that's good. Compared to the intake. Alright. There's the exhaust. Well, it moved a little bit. Let's try it again. My arm's in the way. Okay, let's try it again. What I'm doing is I'm moving the feeler gauge back and forth as I tighten it. Alright. Now it won't move. Now it's tight. Alright. Now. Lock it down. And that's good. I'm happy with that. Alright. Yep, he's locked. Alright. He's tight. You can feel it. Alright. Now I'm going to check my manual to see which one on number 2 to do. Alright, number 2 exhaust valve. So let's see. And he feels a little loose. Alright. Seems like all the exhaust valves may be a little on the loose side. We'll stand him up like that. Alright. Broke loose. Alright, can't move it. There, it's tight. Can't move it. Right there. Alright, right there. Lock it. Let's see what we got. That's what we want. Alright. Alright, now the next one. Is number 3 intake. And you can tell number 3 exhaust is actually pushing down. And you can feel that it's loose. Just wiggle it. So we'll do number 3 intake. So far, the intake has been good on number 1. Let's see. tight, but it goes. All right, that's good. So I'm not going to mess with that at all. So what I'm going to do, so far, the two exhaust valves I had to adjust. Now I'm going to spin the engine 360 degrees, okay? And we should be able to do the other two valves. All right. I'm going to sit over here so I can watch the mark. And where's my ratchet? I need my extension. I like to spin the engine in the direction it runs. Alright, but when it's static, it really don't matter, but I just like to do it that way. So I'm going to spin it one revolution, 360 degrees. To line it back up. Alright, I'm going to watch these valves while I'm doing it too. Now you can see the exhaust coming up. Here comes my mark around. Right there. Alright. And he's loose. And I'll have to check to see which one on the intake, number 2. Alright. So, now I'm going to check the intake on number 2. Which will be this one. That's the exhaust. That's the intake. That's the one that's loose. Okay. Right here. All right. 6 thousandths. It's really loose. Let me check the exhaust on number 3. This will be this one. And he's really loose too. Alright. So that's the exhaust. This will be the intake on number 2. Alright. He's loose. Alright. We're going to tighten him up. Alright. Put my feeler gauge in there. Take the screwdriver and turn it until I can't move it. Then I'm going to back it off just enough to where I can just move it. Can't move it? There. Can't move it? Right there. Alright. There you go. That's what I want. Alright. Make sure we lock. Okay. Now I think it's the exhaust on number 3. And it is. And the exhaust lines up right here. Alright. He's loose. Alright. These things, this is the first adjustment ever since this thing left the factory in 2006. So anyway. Alright. Can't move it. Yeah, I'm still moving it. Can't move it. Back it off. Right there. Can't hardly move it. That's what I want. Alright. There we go. And basically that's all there is to it. Now, I've got a new gasket for the valve cover, so let me go get that and I'm going to put the new gasket on. Alright, I'm going to remove the old O-ring. Just dig it out with this. I'll be real careful because this is the replacement that I'm putting in. There's the part number right there. And I've had that sitting here for years. I mean, hopefully it's the right thing. Okay. He seems pretty thick. See, I want to make sure that if I have to reuse this, I can. All right. So let's open this up and see if he matches me. Well, he looks like he does. Oh, my fan's going to blow it. Do that. All right. All right. Looks the same. All right. I'm going to give this a little spritz of brake clean. I had no oil leaks. I hope I don't develop a leak after this. I mean, this thing is impressively clean. I mean, impressively clean. It's got 1,289 hours. 2006. This is the very first time that this lid's been off. Here, let me dump it. The very first time I pulled this valve cover off. All right. Let's see. Anything in there? Well, there's a few things. I may blow it out. Yeah, there's a little screwdriver. Okay. Just make sure. Let me blow it out a little bit. Be right back. All right. Blew him out good. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in this thing. I just like an O-ring to have some oil on it. Alright. Just run it through it. Just a firm believer in lubricating an O-ring. Alright. Put them in the channel. And it definitely sticks up a lot further than the old one did. So, okay, that old one may not have sealed. It may have sealed, may not have sealed. It's hard to say. All right. All right, we got some oil around him. We got him on. This must be some sort of a PCV, a vent, like a PCV valve. I don't know if there's a check valve or anything in it like a PCV, but that's what that is. That's your vent for crankcase ventilation. All right, let's put this dude back on. D905 engine. I believe that goes down like that. Goes down like that. Okay. And like that. All right. We got 3 lock washers. Well, they're really not lock washers. They're more like copper flat washers. Okay, that's how it seals it. Okay. All right. And there are 3 castle nuts. All right. remember what size they were. Yeah. All right. We'll run them down sort of with this. All right. I'm sure there's a torque spec. Get my ratchet back. I don't need to turn it anymore. Let's see. Oh, he'll go some more. Click. 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 All right. Alright. I may look up a torque spec later, but I'm pretty sure that'd be real close to it. Alright. I said I was going to test those, said I was going to test them, said I was going to test them glow plugs. That's what we're going to do next, just before I slam them in. Trying to get used to recording with my phone here. All right. I started them. I thought I was recording, and I didn't. I just looked. So I'm gonna put these in. I'm putting the glow plugs in, and he's just not starting. All right. I'll come back to him. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. Put them in like you would a spark plug. Alright. See if I can get him going down by hand. Alright, he's going, finally. You had to push down because it's real tight. Alright, now I've got everything put down. I'm going to attempt to put the bracket on here. Alright. So that carries the current to all the glow plugs. And we're going to start the nuts here. Alright, you see I wrung it off. All right, and I'm not being very successful. All right, there we go. And we got the wire here for the glow plug. All right, and we got the nut going down. All right, let's find my socket right here. And let's go back, let's go tighten them up now. All right. And this one where the wire. I may need two wire hands for that. Keep the wire from turning. Okay. Now, one thing I didn't do is disconnect. I did not disconnect the battery. I guess I should have, but I didn't. So, we ought to be ready to start and run and see what this thing sounds like. Here we go. Hold on. Let's see what we get. Give it a little glow plug, 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Oh, it sounds much better. Much better. Well, I could tell right off it sounded a whole lot better. I was definitely hearing them valves clanking. Now it's about 9 hours from an oil change. That'll be about two. Well, I guess I'll get 3 mowings in if I do all 4 acres, and then it'll be time. So it's getting close to that 1,300 hour service. All right. Guess it's time to start putting this dude back together again. I better shine a light down here and see if I see any leaks around that valve cover. A little bit there. Let me make sure I got them nuts run down. That could have been residual. I'll wipe it off and start it again. Guess I could have cleaned this cover off a little better. A little dusty. All right, let's do it again. that was residual. We're good to go. Kind of know where to look at on this thing. I don't know. I think the camera's right there. Okay, so that's where I need to look. Okay, I'm going to show a few things that I've done to the tractor over the years that I've had it. I haven't done a whole lot. I'm on my third battery since 2006. You know, of course, I do the fluid changes and everything. But I'm going to show you a mod I did, and I'm going to show you a trick to shut one of these down in case you have a problem. All right? Right here is a start relay. That's a standard automotive relay, 12-volt relay, that I've wired into the start solenoid circuit. Because what happens over the years, the safety switches will work, but either they get a lot of resistance or the wires between the key switch through all the safety switches all the way to the start solenoid, it builds up enough resistance to where you don't get enough current flow to pull that solenoid to start the tractor. I started noticing it when it was hot, so but then it got to where it was doing it, it didn't matter what. So I put that start solenoid in right here, and I didn't have to cut any wires. It's just you know, I installed it in place to where the key switch now, all the safety switches still work, but the key switch will switch 12 volt from the starter to the solenoid right there, so there's no resistance loss, and it starts every time real fast. All right, now I'm going to show you another thing. Sometimes people will wire in a well, let me get a light over here. All right, there we go. Sometimes people will wire in lights on the ROPS, or the point, you know, additional or extra lighting, and they'll use that. There's a pigtail underneath the seat that they use. Well, it's on a 20 amp fuse, and it's also on the same circuit as the shutdown solenoid on this fuel pump. So what happens if you blow that fuse? You won't be able to stop the engine. Well, you can stick your hand carefully down through here, not getting into the fan. All right, let me get my hand out of the way. There we go. And you reach down here and you pull up on this lever. All right, that is the manual shutdown, and you can do that. I'm sorry, that's the throttle. Pull up, push down on this lever. That is the shutdown right there. All right. Now here I was telling you wrong. So you can push that down. You can even wire up a wire to it and stick it up here and make it for emergency use only. But I've never blown that fuse, knock on wood. But if I did blow it, I'd know to reach down here and pull that off right there in order to shut it. And that's like the old, you just cut the fuel off here to the fuel pump. All right. Well, I think that's it. We're going to put this thing together and stick a fork in it. Well, all right. I believe we can stick a fork in this project. It adjusting the valve, it was long overdue. I think the manual, the scheduled maintenance called for around the 900 hour service, a 900 hour or 1,000, I don't know. And I'm about 11 hours shy of 13. So I guess I kind of dragged it on a little bit. I had that, I intended to do it when it was due, and I even bought the new O-ring for the valve cover, but I just set it off to the side. Didn't hear any strange noises, didn't have any problems, so I just carried on until yesterday, or the day before yesterday, when I was back there. I was on the last acre of my 4 acres mowing, and it just sounded like the engine was getting noisier. So so I thought, well, I should have adjusted them valves back when I was supposed to, and I didn't, so that's what I was going to do. Ends up, I think that was part of the problem, and the fact that I was cleaning some fence rows, and I was really getting into some brush and everything, so I could cut it back good, and I dented that front plate, and it pushed back in towards the flywheel. Now this BX, the engine is backwards, you know. It does that so your cooling fan is at this side and it's less likely to suck in chaff while you're mowing. It still does get some chaff, but it's not as bad as what you would have if you had it front mounted. But anyway, that's another story. So it sounds good and quiet now. It sounds like it did when it was new. Now, like I said, I'm about 11 hours from another 100-hour service, at 1,300 hours, and basically all that is oil, filter, and air filter change, and just checking out everything else, you know, greasing a few places that need greasing, and just going over it. So I'll be doing that maybe in the next, I'll probably get about 3 more mows before I have to do that. But anyway, but it's back to how I like it, and that's this is old dependable now. This has just been a very dependable tractor, and it's done everything I've asked. There's times when I wish it had a little bit more capacity, but then again, that's why they make the bigger ones, right? But anyway, we'll just stick a fork in it. So, hope everything's going good with you and yours. Everything's going good here. Can't complain. And it won't do me no good to complain about it anyway. Let's carry on and take care of the business. So, have a good one, and I hope to see you around on the next one. See you.